all of you. It is a Friday morning. Yay. Now I hope you're all well. And, trying to do the best you can. Well, no, you're gonna do great today. I can feel it. Now, one thing everyone gets on a Friday is, the weekend. Now, whether you live alone or... Good morning, and I guess for all of us, it's Friday. Well, we're up early this morning. Nico is going out for his walk. And yes, what a day. Just zonked. So, you know what? Go out and just make it a super day. Now, sorry. Still waking up. Now, when I say go out and make it a super day, if you have some other condition, if you're depressed, it's hard. But if you can't make it a perfect day, start off with, doing something that maybe will make the next day perfect. Don't just, nothing's woe with me. And I know you all feel like that sometimes. But just go and do your best. Do your best to make it a great day. Now, all of you who all of you must know a diabetic. And I don't care whether it's a type 1, type 2, gestational, but we all know a diabetic. And we all know one that how am I going to say this? That and this person that almost always will have diabetes and always has some other condition. That's complications. And, I was just sort of diagnosed, and I don't know, maybe a few years. Then they came out with the study. And, it was a study that the only way you're going to live a good long life is if you have normal blood sugars. And to this day, that's the study and that's the belief. And you know what? When I was thinking about doing this video, I thought about it and said, well, I have neuropathy. I've had diabetic retinopathy. So, I never got tight control. And, back then, there was always the scare tactics. And I guess they felt, just a second, that was the only way a diabetic was going to take care of themselves. You're going to lose a leg. And for a 13-year-old boy, you know, I personally always used to think, well, that's going to be someone else. That's not going to happen to me. Well, that hasn't happened to me. And I've been luckily have had good circulation, and all the infections or whatever are pretty well taken care of fairly quickly. But getting up and trying to move and trying to take care of things, I can stand and walk short distances, but I can't get out and do it all the time. Now, so often, people say, well, if you only took care of yourself. Well, brittle diabetic, you can't always take care of yourself. New diabetics, you have a chance. And, if you take care of yourself, you're going to be feeling better. You're going to be looking better. This is bump again. A lot bumpy in the area, tape. But you want to do the best you can always do. There's a lot in this world that need to be taken care of. And that's just the way of life. Now, one thing that I had learned is really no one really just dies of diabetes. It's usually other things, and you should really work on these things so that they don't become. Now, a newly diagnosed diabetic, you always go out there and you always try to do, I gotta be perfect, I gotta be perfect. But while keeping your blood sugars at a relatively normal amount is something to achieve, but rarely can it be done to be perfect. I don't want you to go out and strive for excellence, because being a diabetic, you're not going to always get a normal blood sugar. You're going to have days where you crash, and then you're going to have days where you have a high blood sugar. But as soon as you're able to get back and get it normal to the best of your ability, remember that was the topic today, you want to ensure that you do the best that you can. If you can't, well, you can always do the best you can. Now, having a normal blood sugar to wear off complications, people say, I'll start tomorrow. Well, you know what? Tomorrow never comes, and rarely do you do that. People will, I didn't start, I'll start tomorrow. And When I was first diagnosed, I went through my teenage years. I was diagnosed on my 13th year. And from there, I, kept growing. And I went through some changes. Now, I could never get good control. And I would try, I would take my insulin, I would do the best I can. And in my 20s, when I was working at 7-Eleven, I worked the nights, and your mind is, oh, well, you never eat at night. And of course, I was eat, but I wasn't always eating the most healthy stuff. Now, at the time, I was working at 7-Eleven, and, you're working in the middle of the night, there's a sandwich, and I would eat it. Now, they're fine, or a hot dog or whatever, and that's fine once in a while. But, you should be eating fresh, as fresh as you can. So I gained weight, and now I still gain weight from, it was hospital food this time. But I've always been a big person. And I can remember when I started working in the 7-Eleven office, I would go crazy trying to do blood sugars and trying to get them under control. And I would keep logs after log. I had months, I had a little binder, and everything in that binder was all about my diabetes. And I was determined I was going to have the perfect blood sugars. Now, as it stands now, I'm not able to get a perfect blood sugar yet. There's got to be some reason out there. And just an aside, I always thought, I wonder if I've done something in the past. Now, like I mentioned, I think yesterday or the day before, that my father kept saying, oh, well, yes, you're cheating. That's why you have terrible blood sugars. It's because you're cheating. Oh, the sun's back. It's a red ball out there. Now, yes, I was a high school kid. Yes, I cheated, but I don't cheat all the time. If I'm low, I might have a can of Coke. And, a lot of times, that used to bring me up, and people would always be saying, oh, you're drinking Coke. Oh, you're not allowed to drink Coke. Oh. And there's a funny story. When I was, not this last time being in, but the time before, I was in the hospital, and in my first couple of months I was put into a hospital ward that was kind of like just one big open space. It was called it was an overcare or something, overflow. And while I was in there, I had talked to the doctor that was taking care of me. And, he said, well, if Coke's the thing that works for you, we'll work on trying to stop them. But if Coke's working for you as a means of quick sugar, go ahead and get some Coke and have it in there. So I went and I bought, I think it was, they were on sale, but it was 710 bottle, and I thought, well, I could take half. And so I put it on my bed table, the tables that slide over the bed. And, I was going to be completely open about this. So I did my job, and it sat there, and there was a nurse, and I know this nurse now, and she is awesome, and she saw the Coke on the table, and from across the room she came, and she said, "What are you doing with the diet with the Coke? You should be drinking that. You're diabetic." And I tried to explain to her, well, it's only if it's a low blood sugar. But you know what? I kept it there, and eventually I used it. And one time it was with my soon-to-be new doctor came in and said, "Oh, you're low. Here, have one." So, we always do things, but again, since I'm trying to get my keys organized, it's better if you don't have any lows. Your body goes under tremendous ways in order to try to reconcile a low. Some people, and I used to, got terrible headaches. Oh. So, having the relief was just as bad as having the low blood sugar. So, just because if you're like me and you're a brittle diabetic, you need to, again, do the best you can in maintaining a normal blood sugar. Never forget, and never think, oh, well, I'll start later or I'll start tomorrow, because it won't happen. Start now, and don't be afraid. That's right. Just do the best you can. And if something happens, learn from it and move on. Have a great day. We're home. I gotta feed Nico. Bye now.